The Last of Us is many people's favorite game of all time. It's definitely a top 10 for me, and that unbelievably good ending not only sets up where the story could go, but it tells you enough that it doesn't need a sequel. We did not need more Last of Us. We got more Last of Us. We'll get into this minefield of a discussion topic later in a video that's gonna take forever. It's probably gonna be at least 45 minutes long, but first, we got more Last of Us. I do not care when this takes place. I really don't think you can release anything after that ending without having incredibly big shoes to fill, a problem the show avoided by placing it in the episode beforehand. So can this DLC prove its worth? Let's find out as we take a look at The Last of Us Left Behind in the spoiler review that also spoils the most controversial point of Last of Us Part 2, which you probably already heard of. Since this is a DLC, whether you played it on PlayStation 3, 4, or 5, it's gonna be the same technically as whatever generation edition you played it on, and for the gameplay, it doesn't matter at all which one. There won't be any graphical changes in Left Behind, and that's the case for the core mechanics of the gameplay, but they did add new set pieces and combat encounters. But I guess whoever wished this DLC into existence used a monkey's paw, because the writing on the wall says that a finger curled. Yeah, there's more Last of Us combat, however, it's the most stressful part of that combat with minimal upgrades, and they only use it 50% of the time. And the other 50% is way worse than you think it is. That other half could have been 45 minutes of Tetris, and I would have said, that was odd. I don't know what those goobers at Naughty Dog are smoking, but hey, I had a lot of fun playing Tetris. But instead, they chose to pair grungy, scavenging stealth gameplay with water gun fights, brick throwing contests, and Mortal Kombat quick time events. And before you get angry, believe me, I know it's prioritizing character moments over gameplay. I get that fully and would accept that. But that sacrifice is still made. Half the gameplay still sucks, it just has a reason to. And it feels like much more of a problem when half the gameplay will bore you to tears on replay and the other half is so good in comparison. And I know I said it's the most stressful part of it, but even the least enjoyable part of The Last of Us is super fun. And this game actually innovates by letting you pit humans and infected against each other, which they later utilize in Part 2, but wasn't in Part 1. What else can I mention? We see Joel's tummy. That's something new. You find out the Fireflies enlist 16-year-olds. We got Facebook jokes. Everyone loves a good Facebook joke. That's all I got. We pretty much learned nothing new, and what little there is centered around the characters. Like, okay, yeah, they go to a mall, but I could have told you everything else. It takes place 3 weeks before they meet in Boston, like Ellie says. We meet Riley, her best friend who gets bit and wants to go out with Ellie together, like Ellie says. She helps Joel after his injury, like we know she did the whole time because we saw it with our own eyes. We see how she got bit. I don't care! She tells us how at the end of the game, and yes, show not tell, but telling is good when it's delivered in expertly written dialogue. We just do not need to see that at all, and I know that because the base game is a masterpiece without it. I genuinely don't know what else to say about this story because there's nothing new to add or say. There's only one thing I can think of that I haven't said about the story, but it also ties in the gameplay, but it's mainly about the characters, so whatever. Let's get into the characters. There's two main reasons why this is set in the time jump to winter, after Joel's injured and it starts snowing, but before running into David. And the first reason is that if you're gonna jump between points in the timeline, the past and the present, and the past focuses on Ellie, you'd want to set it around the time you play as her so there's no friction from switching characters. The second reason is that Joel and Ellie have mirrored struggles. Joel starts the game towards the end of his arc of hardening to the guilt of what he had to do to survive. He's not proud of them, but it's just one of those things. While Ellie struggles with survivor's guilt, the idea that people close to her have died and she feels guilty that she didn't die with them or in their place. The why wasn't it me mentality. And that ending, when she makes Joel swear that they couldn't make a cure and give her a worthy death and make the life she has in the place of people she loves matter, hits way harder when you know why it's so important to her and have grown to care about the people whose deaths she carries with her. We already know why it's so important to her that she saves Joel and their life means something. It's because she's an orphan who has no one to take her to the Fireflies because everyone she cared about is dead. She's lost too many people, and all this DLC does is reinforce that theme that everybody has already picked up on. And also, have we grown to care about the people she loses? Nah. Not me, at least. Listen, I'm not too tribalistic with characters. I don't have a never-ending supply of unfathomable hatred towards Abby, all because she, for good reason, killed a character I like who absolutely had it coming. But when you start the DLC with a character at odds with Ellie, one of the main characters of the game I just played for 10 hours and love, yeah, I'm gonna be standoffish towards them for a little. And what's worse is we know why we're mad at her, she left Ellie over and over, but we don't really know why we should like her other than because Ellie does. But she's so obviously buttering her up for something that every good thing she does and all the fun they have makes you more suspicious of her. And at the very last moment when they dance together, do a smooch, and decide to leave Boston and FEDRA behind together, you say, you know what? That wasn't the worst secret to keep. I understand why she's trying to show her a good time, not only so she'll react better when she breaks the news, but also because this is their last chance. And after playing this DLC, I think I can fully say that I forgive and even like Riley. Oh, she's dead. You spend so little time with her that you don't really have a chance to care about her. Like, imagine if you played part 2 and saw Joel's death without playing part 1 or Left Behind. You'd understand that Joel's important to Ellie, but you just really wouldn't care personally. The only reason it kinda works for Tess in the base game is because you spend more time with her and you have no reason to think her cooperation with Joel could have any ulterior motive. And even then, it's not the biggest deal. And I think that might be intentional. Joel's not as affected by her death as he should be because he stuffs his feelings about it way down deep, just like how we're not as affected by it because we barely know her. I'd say Left Behind is bad because it highlights why The Last of Us is good, and that's because it takes its time with the characters, and this is a rush job, trying to do the same in an amount of time that just won't work. The only meaningful impact this DLC really has on the characters is through retcons. Like how Ellie having always loved puns means she didn't just try to pass the time in the base game. She was sharing something she loved with Joel and making a genuine attempt to bond with him, and also, it's weird to see Ellie in a tank top. It's like Batman without a utility belt. Why does this look so weird? Oh, it's because she always wore long sleeve shirts. Oh, she was hiding her bite marks with her sleeves. That's really cool. They made her character design tell a story. Like I said, the ending of The Last of Us is so well done that it does not need a sequel, let alone DLC, and so Left Behind needs to justify its own existence. It does not. I think this DLC is wholly unnecessary, and I'm not sure that I would have paid for it if it didn't come with Part 1 and the remaster. On its own, it's a good story. Like, if this DLC was its own small indie game that wasn't full price, yeah, it would be good. It's got fantastic gameplay, but in relation to the base game and how it affects and is affected by it, I'm gonna give Last of Us Left Behind a 4 out of 10. I feel like it was almost doomed to fail given what it's based on. Like, instead of showing us what we already know, I feel like cutting back to 2013 or 14, the early years of the outbreak, and playing as Bill or even maybe a younger Joel and Tommy would be more interesting. Not showing us what we already know, like their fallout, but something new. Or how about if the DLC was centered around Sam and Henry and their story leading up to the game? Imagine playing through their episode from the show or something like that, and they're in Pittsburgh on the run from Kansas City. In that case, it could maybe even get away with being only an hour or two long because they were already there in the back half of summer. We already love them. Or maybe we just don't make a DLC at all. Yeah, in hindsight, that wasn't happening.